Everyone loves cartoons. There are cartoons for kids, and there are even cartoons for adults. Everything from Bugs Bunny to The Simpsons has something entertaining for everyone, and they've been a popular way to escape reality for decades. However, some of these cartoons aren't the cute, innocent animated creations that you think they are. In fact, some cartoons have been sending secret messages to those who understand them, and even those who have no idea. With that in mind, check out these 5 creepy secret messages in cartoons. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. With that being said, let's begin. Number 5. Illuminati in DuckTales. If you aren't familiar with DuckTales, this was a popular cartoon that was mostly aimed at children in the late 1980s. Apparently, one of the episodes had something to do with the Illuminati. During this time, not many people knew what the Illuminati was or were even aware that such a thing existed. Whether the Illuminati really exists or not is basically up to you. As far as we know, the shadow government conspiracy has existed since the dawn of time and is a collection of groups that are all controlled by one elite organization, or so they say. Who are they? We're not really sure, but today's world is a different story, and most people know what you mean when you say Illuminati. It would seem that when you mention the group being involved in occultism is where most people draw the line. We're talking about Walt Disney here after all. In a certain episode of DuckTales, there's a small secret message that isn't really hard to find. However, if you're paying attention to the wacky doctor and Scrooge, then you'll probably miss it. The episode is titled Yuppie Ducks, and it was shown in November of 1989. This was a time when not many people knew anything about the Illuminati, occultism, or Freemasonry, so what is it that you should see? The eye chart on the doctor's wall looks like an ordinary eye chart at first, until you freeze it and look at it more closely. Then you realize the eye chart says, "Ask about Illuminati." Many people might not realize this, but a lot of Disney movies, children's TV programming, and their cartoons all usually contain a lot of symbolism. It's not known if these things are that the animators are secretly slipping past the production crew, or if the whole company's in on the secret messages. Was Disney trying to warn people of this so-called secret society without alerting the Illuminati themselves? This is something that's probably best left to the imagination. However, if such a society does exist, then it seems that many people have been trying to warn us about them for some time. By the way, Illuminati symbolism can be found in several Disney productions. See if you can figure out which ones. Number 4. Occult Meeting of the 3 Little Pigs. Almost everyone knows the story of the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf that tries to eat them. Nom, 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 nom. However, this age-old story might not have been told to the younger generation, so we'll try to get you through this if your mother or father never told you this somewhat frightening tale. Well, okay, so it's not so frightening, and it is indeed a favorite of children for a very long time. The thing about this story is that it's supposed to have a strong message, or moral of the story kind of thing. Some people will say that the message is to build a house out of bricks so that the wind can't destroy it. However, you would be surprised to know that this story has an occult meaning, just like most other fairy tales. What? You didn't know that most fairy tales were based on the occult? Well, most of the time that is true. Some people think that the story of the 3 Little Pigs has an esoteric meaning because Walt Disney had turned the story into a cartoon. Along with that was the belief that Walt Disney was a very high-degree Mason. It turns out that the original story of the 3 Little Pigs, which was written by James Halliwell Phillips, who was not only very well acquainted with the Masons, but Royal Society and also Shakespeare Society. The interesting thing about this is that Wikipedia appears to have the exact longitude and latitude location for where James is buried because of his connections. From here on out, things get pretty complicated, but we'll try to simplify it. The pigs and the wolf in the story actually have some true meaning or connection and are in a lot of myths, especially religious ones. It turns out that the pigs are actually symbolism for the masses, which is us. The first 2 pigs build their houses out of things that cannot stand the test of time, while the 3rd pig builds his house out of bricks. The wolf, it turns out, is a symbolism of chaos, and the wind that he blows are the thoughts in your mind. In myths, the wind has always represented thoughts in someone's mind. To get to the point of all the symbolism in this story, no matter how hard the wolf huffs and puffs, he cannot blow down the brick house. The brick house is also symbolized by building wealth. The scary thing about it is that this isn't symbolizing personal wealth, but it's the wealth of the people controlling the world. The moral of the story ends up being that as long as the wealthy see us as swine, they will laugh all the way to the bank. Now you'll never think of the Three Little Pigs the same way again. Number 3. The Simpsons predictions. Everyone loves The Simpsons, and if you don't, you must be some kind of robot whose sole purpose is to bend things. There are tons of secret messages hidden in episodes of The Simpsons. Things such as the characters' names are taken from actual people in Matt Groening's family. Krusty the Clown was originally created as Homer Simpson's secret identity. Lisa's first word was Bart, Maggie's was Daddy, and young Bart said, "Ay caramba," of course. Oh, by the way, if you're ever at Springfield Elementary, Bart's locker combination is 36, 24, 26, which are the numbers sang in the AC/DC song, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And that whole couch gag at the beginning of each episode, it's designed to make the show longer or shorter depending on the episode so that each one is actually the same time. We could literally go on and on with all this fun stuff, but there is something even more bizarre that happened in episodes of The Simpsons that'll leave you in complete amazement. Somehow, some of The Simpsons episodes ended up predicting things that would happen in the future. Some people think there's no such thing as coincidence, and that things happen for a reason. The first prediction begins with an episode that aired way back in 1997 and had some people saying that The Simpsons predicted an Ebola outbreak in 2014. In the episode, Bart is sick in bed and suffering from a fever, and Marge suggests that he read a book. Humorously, the front of the book shows the title Curious George and the Ebola Virus. Of course, the book shows Curious George, who's a monkey that is sick from some illness, laying on a bed. The perfect book to make you feel better when you're sick. In another episode, called Bart to the Future, Bart is given a glimpse into the year 2030 and sees Trump as the future leader of the United States. Regardless or not if it's coincidence, Lisa ends up taking the presidency, who left the country in debt because America had borrowed money from every country around the world under President Trump. It's still up in the air to see what becomes of that prediction, but the most interesting prediction in the series is the one involving the September 11th terrorist attacks on the World Trade Towers in New York. The episode is called New York City Against Homer. During the episode, Lisa holds up a magazine that shows the big number 9 next to the silhouettes of the World Trade Center towers, which shows 9/11. This episode was shown on September 1997, which was just 4 full years before the attack took place. Number 2. Illuminati in South Park. We don't need to tell you who the Illuminati is since we previously and cautiously mentioned them, whoever they may be. And it goes without saying that everyone loves South Park, and it's certainly one of the funniest and longest running animated series which has been on TV for more than 15 years now. Of course, this animated show was never intended for younger audiences, but instead focused on adult themes. There's no need to go over the main characters, but if you aren't familiar with them, the main characters are 4 young boys who take foul language and dark satirical humor to an entirely new level. Most of the time, the episodes are geared toward controversial subjects, which are often in the news headlines, and go over everything from the NSA spying on us to presidential elections and everything else in between. With that said, it should come as no surprise that the series also has its fair share of incorporated controversial symbolism, which is related to none other than secret societies like the Freemasons, the occult, and of course, the Illuminati. The creators of South Park could be called geniuses in that they insert graphic elements that contain controversial stuff or odd symbolism on a bunch of different levels. It's even said that there's an alien in every single episode. If that doesn't give you a reason to rewatch every single episode, no other reason will come close. Oh, and by the way, sometimes that alien is hidden really well, and other times it's right in plain view. However, when it comes to the occult stuff, there are a few symbols which can be easily found. In Season 13, there's a lot of pyramid symbolism happening, and in A Sign for SeaWorld, there's an all-seeing eye right in the middle. In Season 14, in an episode called Mysterion Rises, Kenny plays the character Mysterion, who's trying to save the world from Cartman. Cartman ends up joining forces with a satanic beast who is summoned by a cult wearing black robes. The cult ends up meeting in a basement that has a poster with an inverted pentagram and a graphic of the Eye of Horus, which many say is the symbol that is often related to the Illuminati. But these aren't the only times that the eye symbolism is used. But we'll let you figure out where they are, as you're hunting for that alien in every episode. You're welcome. Number 1. Johnny Bravo's Prediction. Cartoon Network had some pretty decent cartoons, and one of them was Johnny Bravo. Although not nearly as cool as The Simpsons or South Park, it had some fairly decent success. Of course, the humor for this cartoon series was also adult-oriented and was about a buff guy with a huge ego and all about getting the ladies to date him, of which he was mostly unsuccessful. However, the cartoon did air for 4 seasons and earned some big nominations, but never won any awards. That said, in one episode called Johnny and the Chain Gang, Johnny and his pal Carl are thrown out of the movie theater. Johnny was apparently reading the subtitles out loud, which is something idiotic that his character would do. Johnny and Carl are arguing, and on the outside of the movie theater is a poster of a tall skyscraper on fire with the words "Coming Soon" written across the front. The cartoon aired 4 months before the attacks actually happened. While some people think that this is merely a coincidence, some conspiracy theorists believe that the show predicted the event. Hope you enjoyed the video, Top Fivers. If you haven't already, check out our other channel, Americano, to enjoy even more amazing list videos. There'll be a link in the description, so check it out, as well as our other cool stuff.